Welcome to the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast, where being a badass has less to do with what you wear and what music you listen to, and everything to do with whether you've got the thriving online business of your dreams. I'm your renegade thinking Harvard Law grad turned online entrepreneur host, Bobby Klink. In my years building my thriving business, the most important lesson I've learned is that being a badass online marketer isn't about secret strategies or ninja tactics. It's about doing the basic stuff right and showing the F up. So each week here on the show, you'll get clear, easy to execute guidance on how to build your online business and a swift kick in the ass or two to make sure you're getting it done. Hey there, welcome to another live Friday episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klink, and today I'm excited for what we're going to talk about because I'm going to give you one of those big, swift kicks in the ass that I think you probably need. Specifically today, we're going to talk about goal setting. And we're not going to talk about wimpy goals. We're not going to talk about setting goals that you can kind of reach in your sleep. We're going to talk about why you need to be setting big, hairy, scary goals that really scare the bejesus out of you. We're going to talk about why that is actually the path to success and why taking the time to actually set scary goals can be one of the most important things you do in your business. So, with that, we're going to go into that. We're going to go into kind of why a lot of people are doing goal setting wrong and why setting goals that you candidly don't make and don't reach is a much better path. But before we get into that, I want to tell you that this episode is brought to you by the video series by my coach, James Wedmore, called The Rise of the Digital CEO. It is an 8-part video series that is released all at once so you can binge it. You can watch the whole thing like you would a Netflix show. And it is a series that is all about building the business that you actually want. It's about building the business that allows you to have the kind of dream business that you probably started this whole online entrepreneurship thing for. It's about you not doing the stuff that you're doing that is busy work. It's about setting up all of the different pieces that you need to set up in your business to actually have a freedom-based business that will serve you over the long term. You can register for the series, which is called The Rise of the Digital CEO, by heading over to bobbyklink.com/rise. The videos will drop on Monday, June 15th. And we have a lot of fun stuff in store for people who sign up. We're going to be doing lives on the page. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to make it a lot of fun and help my folks go deeper and get the most value out of the series. So make sure you check that out too. But with that, I want to get into today's episode. And I want to talk about why you need to be setting big, hairy, scary goals. Now, my view is that every goal you set, you should come at with the perspective of there is no possible way I could ever actually hit this goal. Now, I'm not saying you're never going to hit your goals, but I think honestly, if you are setting the right kinds of goals, you should miss at least 90% of the time. And I'm going to be a bit different than most people because I am not going to propose to you, like a lot of people do, that you should set safe, stretch, and a big, hairy, scary goal. I say screw the safe and screw the stretch goals. Just set the big, hairy, scary goals. And I want to talk about why that is. And I'm going to kind of talk about why you should set big goals, why you should be setting goals you're probably not going to reach, and also why you shouldn't even set those safety goals along the way. And there's really kind of 3 reasons that I want to talk about. The first reason is that setting big goals is what will get you out of your comfort zone. And what I mean by this is when you set a crazy goal and your only goal, the only way you could reach your goal is going to be to take some massive action, well, then maybe you just might take the massive action that you need. And let me kind of contrast that with the kind of goal that a lot of people set. A lot of people will set a goal that's like, okay, well, I'm going to increase my pace of where I'm already pacing by 5%. And I'll use this example. Let's say that, you are currently generating 300 leads per quarter. So 100 leads, new leads into your business per month. Let's say that's what you're pacing right now. And you say, okay, for the next quarter, my goal is to get 315 new leads. My question for you is that going to make you do anything differently than you've already been doing? The answer is probably not. I mean, maybe you're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to go in and maybe I'll tweak the language on this ad just a little bit. Or maybe I'll, spend another $1 a day on Facebook ads. Or, you're going to do something minor. You're not actually going to say, okay, I've got to do something fundamentally different. I've got to stretch myself. I've got to come up with a new way. I've got to come up with kind of something different to make a fundamental shift in what's happening. And what I will tell you is that if you ultimately want to grow as an entrepreneur, if you want your business to grow like over the long term, if you want to get kind of those quantum leaps that you hear about making, it doesn't come by setting goals that you can meet by making little tweaks to what you're already doing. The quantum leaps come from you saying, you know what? I'm going to double this over the next quarter. I'm going to do something crazy. And then saying, I now got to figure out how the heck I'm going to do that. I've got to figure out what am I going to do that's so fundamentally different from what I'm already doing to actually cause this explosive growth. And that's kind of the concept that I want you to get is you're going to have to be a different person than you've been being if you want to grow. It's this funny thing. James Wedmore, my coach, says this all the time, and I don't think he's the original person who said this, but he said, what you got you here won't get you there. In other words, like for me, I'm a multiple six-figure business. If I want to have a seven-figure business, I can't keep acting like a six-figure business owner. I have to be a seven-figure business owner to have a seven-figure business. That means I have to grow. I have to make those quantum leaps in my own business, in my own kind of mindset, in all of that stuff. And I can't do that by saying I'm going to tweak things around the margins. I have to get the hell out of my comfort zone, get uncomfortable, and take uncomfortable actions. And setting these big, huge goals that you're like, whoa, it's going to be crazy to get there, is the only way that realistically you're going to be motivated to do it. Because most of us are motivated by goals. And so if we have a goal and we say, okay, great, okay, I need to grow it by 15%. That's what we're shooting for. We're not going to take these massive actions. So the first reason why you need to do it is why you need to set big, hairy, scary goals is so that you'll get out of your comfort zone and take those crazy actions. And I want to talk for a second about why this also means you should not be setting safe and stretch goals, but only a big, hairy, scary goal. The reason's pretty simple, because if you have a safe goal, that's what you're shooting for. If you set multiple goals and one of them is your big, hairy, scary goal, you're not even paying attention to that one. Because you're like, okay, well, fine. As long as I meet the safe goal, I'm okay. As long as I get to that, I'm good. And that's the problem. If you set any goal that kind of is achievable without getting out of your comfort zone, the chances of you getting out of your comfort zone are pretty darn small. So just don't do it. Just set these crazy goals. Now, the second reason I want to suggest to you is that when you set big, hairy, scary goals, even if you miss, you're going to be better off than if you set a modest goal. It goes back to that old, quote, you should reach for the moon because even if you miss, you'll be among the stars. And it's that same concept. And let's just talk about this leads example that I gave you. If I set my goal, and if I'd been pacing 300 leads a quarter, and I set my goal at 315 leads, the chances that I'm actually going to hit 400 leads, pretty darn small. Because I'm not going to be motivated to. I'm going to just do whatever. I'll get to 315. Maybe I get to 330, right? I mean, you get the point. I'm going to make some modest success. Now, on the other hand, if I set my goal at 600, if I say I'm going to double the pace that we're on right now, and I miss, there's still a pretty good chance that I'm going to hit 450 or maybe 500. Yeah, I didn't hit the 600, but it's a heck of a lot better than I would have done if I would have set one of those modest, safe goals. And that's something that I want you to be thinking about. When you're setting safe goals, you're setting yourself up to only shoot to get to that safe goal. And the chances that you're going to exceed it by any large amount are pretty darn small. Now, on the other hand, when you just set crazy goals like I do, yeah, I miss them every single time. I think literally I have not hit a goal that I've had this year. No, there was one. I was pacing the right number of podcast interviews the first quarter. That was the only goal among my goals that we were looking at for the year that I had set for the entire year and for the quarter that we hit. But the reality is, even though we didn't hit our goals, we're making huge strides and huge progress because the goals are so ridiculously crazy. So even though I'm missing the goals, we are growing. And we're growing at a kind of increasing pace. That's what I want you to grasp, that the goal should not be the end-all be-all. The only purpose of a goal is to get you off your ass to make the progress you need to be doing. It is a means to an end. And setting that big, crazy goal is going to be the thing that, regardless of whether you hit it or not, is going to give you the best chance of having the most growth possible. Because even if you miss, you still are going to have really good results. In some sense, like if you were looking at people who set these safe, stretch, and big, hairy, scary goals, and if you set all three, I think chances are you're going to hit safe. The best way to hit your stretch goal is to just set one goal, that big, hairy, scary goal. Because that is the way that you're going to push yourself. You're going to find ways. You're going to get scrappy with it. I was talking about this with Katie. We're in the middle of our promotion of James Wedmore's Business by Design. That's what his video series is a lead into, obviously. And so we're in the middle of that, and we have a leads list. And we're basically saying to ourselves, we're going to pretend that we are basically way behind where we want to be. No matter where we are with the number of leads on our list, we are going to act as if we are way behind. And the reason for that is very simple. That is going to force us to get scrappy, to get creative, to say, what else could we be doing? How else could we be serving to get to this big goal we have? See, that's the beauty of setting these big goals. That's what happens when you are looking for these crazy, ridiculous goals and trying to get there. You constantly feel like you have to keep pushing. And so that then brings me to the last point. And this is one that I think a lot of people aren't going to like. And I'm going to talk about it generally, but I'm also going to relate it back to something that I talked about yesterday in my free Facebook group, the Badass Online Marketers Facebook group, with a guest I had on there, Julie Ostro. We were talking about public speaking and how people are afraid, actually fear public speaking more than they fear death, if you actually survey them, which makes no sense, but it is reality. It's been proven over and over again. And what I said is that people are afraid of failing, and they're afraid of failing publicly. It's really that they're afraid that other people are going to see them fail. But really, we just don't like failing. And so a lot of times we act out of fear in our business because we're afraid to fail. What I'm going to tell you is getting over that BS is one of the most important things you need to do as an entrepreneur. If you want to have a successful business, you're going to fail, and you're going to fail a lot. You're going to try things that don't work. You're going to have promotions that didn't cut it. You're going to have offers that the market doesn't like. You're going to try things on social that people don't like. You're going to do emails that people don't like. We could go down the list over and over and over again. There are going to be things you do that freaking fail. And the sooner that you get comfortable with failure and get to the point that you're willing to fail, the better you are going to be as an entrepreneur. I have failed a ton since I started this business. Some of them very public, some of them private. The key to me is that every time I fail, I say, oh, interesting. Okay, that didn't work. What's next? And it wasn't always like that. At the beginning, I took every failure personally. But I've learned not to detach from results, to detach from failure, to look at myself and say, how can I fail today? And part of that is because I've gotten comfortable failing. And so this goes back to that big, hairy, scary goal. If you go into things saying that this goal I have for this, there's probably no way I'm ever going to reach this goal, guess what? The prospect of failing isn't so bad. And the prospect of not hitting that goal isn't so bad, because even if you don't hit that goal, what we talk about in point 2, you're probably going to be better off than if you'd set a modest goal. So again, I want you to be thinking about this from that perspective, that setting goals that are almost destining you for failure, that basically mean your chances of ever reaching those goals are next to none, is one of the quickest and easiest ways for you to get comfortable with the prospect of failing. And getting comfortable with the prospect of failing is something that will move your business forward more than anything else that I could possibly give you. Now, I can give you tactics, we can talk strategy, we can talk about all that stuff. But the reality is that until you get to the point that your mind says, I'm okay failing, I'm ready to fail, you're not going to actually make a ton of progress. And so that's why I want to suggest to you that you want to set these big, hairy, scary goals. Because when you set big, hairy, scary goals, you're going to get comfortable failing. But even when you fail, you're going to grow, get outside of your comfort zone, and you're going to end up making more progress than you ever could have if you set BS, modest, safe goals. So, my call to action to you today is to set goals that you will always fail at. Set goals that you have no possible way of reaching, and then do everything in your damn power to try to reach it. Get out of your comfort zone. Find how you have to grow as a person. Find how your team has to grow. Find the kind of monumental shifts you need to be making, and try your damnedest to reach that goal, even though you know the chances are that you're not going to. Because when you do that, you're going to start making humongous strides in your business. That's it for today. I'll see you again next Tuesday. That's it for this episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. Make sure to tune in next time. And in the meantime, go out and build the badass business of your dreams.